Good morning, everyone. Yes. We are at time to start. We're still waiting for some people to join online. I understand we have another 4 coming. Just wanted to acknowledge that Innisfil is situated on treaty land that is steeped in rich Indigenous history.
Okay.
The Rotary Club of Innisfil acknowledges that this land is the traditional territories of the First Peoples of Turtle Island. Hi, Sue. It is shared between the Anishinaabe peoples of Bausalay First Nation, Chippewas of Rama First Nation, and Chippewas of Georgina Island First Nation, and we thank them for generations of stewardship. This meeting place is still the home to many Indigenous people and the settlers. We are grateful to have the opportunity to work on this land. The Rotary Club of Innisfil acknowledges the forced sacrifices that are the foundation of Canadian society today. We are dedicated to honoring Indigenous history and culture and committed to moving forward in the spirit of reconciliation and respect for all First Nations, Métis, and Inuit. So we do not have Al today, unfortunately. Sue, has Al left any words of wisdom with you for us, or?
Not that you'd like to hear. No. No, he hasn't. He was up and he's been to the lake and done some work there, and now he's off to the mayor's breakfast. So I'm sure he wishes you all well.
Thank you. And it is it's wonderful to see your face on the screen. I know we all deeply miss you here. So thank you.
Thank
Also,
you.
Wendy online, thank you for joining us. And Janet, thank you for joining online. And I understand we'll have some more, and they'll hopefully just sporadically join during the meeting. But all right. Okay, just pull in my agenda here. Now, Janet, do you have anything for Learning Corner?
Yeah. There I go. Is everybody on? Hear me?
Yes.
Does everybody know? It's in the agenda. Actually, we have a lot of acronyms that we deal with. So when we say DG, does anybody know what a DG is?
Yes, district.
What is ADG?
Assistance. Barb.
What's a PP?
Past president.
Barb, you can't keep answering these questions.
I answered that one.
What does WCS stand for?
World. Chairman, no.
WCS.
You give up.
No, don't know. Stump us.
World Community Service.
Oh.
So you're going to find that in Rotary, we have a lot of acronyms because we just don't want to fill our mouth full of words all the time. We want to do things, but we want to also have it all based on short forms, or what we call acronyms. So there's a list of, if you Google Rotary acronyms, there's a list that was started by the Rotary Club of Australia, and it was then added on by different districts. There is a whole list, and we're talking over 100 different acronyms that works around on our short forms there for Rotary. So if you want to learn more about that, just Google Rotary acronyms, and you'll be amazed at how many short forms there are for our Rotary. So that's your Rotary Minute. And don't forget the Rotary Leadership Institute, RLI, not to be confused with what's on the agenda in regards to the learning in Rotary, is coming up very shortly. You can still register online. I'm going to be sending out another list of dates and that on it. So October 14th, October 21st, and November 4th for 2 hours on a Saturday morning. You can learn a lot about Rotary, the different levels of Rotary. You'll even hear some acronyms on it. And it's 2 hours, and for 3 sessions, it's only $20. We'd love to see you there. That's great for new people as well as for those that are a little bit more experienced in Rotary. So you see
that it is virtual, right?
Yeah, and it is virtual on Zoom. And just so you know, we do hear the acronyms, and you learn what those acronyms are for. And that's my Rotary minute.
That's excellent. Thank you, Janet. All right, we'll move on towards our speakers. Anne, are you?
I will introduce you.
Okay.
Morning, Vanessa.
Morning.
Vanessa Genier is an Indigenous mother from the Missinaba Cree First Nations who resides in Timmins, Ontario. If you have been following the Quilt for Survivors project founded by Vanessa, you will know a lot about this quilter with a heart of gold. She has been running a marathon since June 2021, when her initial goal of providing 18 quilts for residential school survivors was quickly achieved. She could not stop. To date, almost 3,600 quilts have been delivered to survivors and the marathon continues. Vanessa and her team of volunteers plan to deliver a quilt to all 40,000 survivors of residential schools. Let's welcome quilter extraordinaire, Vanessa.
Good morning, Wache. Thank you. I'm going to share my screen with you. I have a nice slideshow that I'd like to share with you. I didn't make it. I should give credit to my wonderful daughter who put this together for me. So Quilts for Survivors is simply that. We make handmade quilts and present them to survivors of not only Indian residential schools, but Indian day schools and anyone who's gone through the 60 scoop or other traumas that have come upon our Indigenous people. So as mentioned, my name is Vanessa Genier and I'm from Missinaba Cree First Nation, which is about 4-hour drive from Timmins. There is no actual reserve there. We only got our land back about 15 years ago and we're working to build a community. So back in June of 2021, I heard of the unmarked graves from Kamloops, BC. That story came out in May of 2021. And as an Indigenous mother, I just felt for the people that attended these schools. My great-grandparents are survivors of residential school, and my grandfather was hidden in the bush with his siblings so he wouldn't have to attend. And it's caused a lot of trauma, pain, intergenerational trauma for our people. And I felt that I needed to do something, but I didn't know what I could do being a single mom, working full-time. But I just felt the creator say, you quilt, do that. So what started out as a simple project of simply asking for blocks has turned into an international organization that has volunteers from all around the world helping us to make quilt blocks, quilt tops, or handmade quilts, completed quilts, and presenting them to residential schools. And we've made over 3,600 quilts have been given to survivors across Canada and into the US, because the US did have residential schools. They called them boarding schools. They didn't run as long and there weren't as many as in Canada. So we really feel, myself and the board feel, that Quilts for Survivors is a tangible way to get involved with truth and reconciliation. There are 6 categories to the calls to action that make up the truth and reconciliation. There's child welfare, education, language and culture, health, justice, and reconciliation. And so far to date, 13 of these calls to action have been completed. There's still many more to complete, and at the rate that the government is going, it'll take another 42 years or until 2065 to complete all 94 calls to action, which to me does not seem like a call to action. When I think of a call to action, I think of, okay, let's get this started, let's get this done, let's do that. And the government, as we know, has its own way of doing things. So I really, really feel that making the quilts brings healing to Indigenous and non-Indigenous people, and presenting the quilts, if you follow us on any of our social media, you will see that it's helping to heal the hurts and the trauma. It can't take away the pain, but it can help with the healing process. So after I started the project, mostly we worked out of my home, but in October of 2021, we were given what is now our studio space. And it's a great space. It's a 3-bedroom apartment. And we have it set up really nice where volunteers can come in when we're open. Anytime that we're open, just come in and give an hour or two. Some stay, 5 hours. It just depends on what they can do. And it's just wonderful. This is also the central station where all donations come to, and a lot of quilts get sent out of Timmins. We currently have 8 sewing machines and 1 long arm and a room full of donated fabric. So we started out asking for simple quilted blocks, any style, any pattern. We asked that they be 16.5 inches square, just so that it's easier, if you quilt, it's easier to put things together if they all are the same size. So that's kind of how we started out. And we received blocks, as you can see in the picture, that were really detailed and a tribute to Indigenous culture and heritage. A lot of them have orange to honor Every Child Matters and Orange Shirt Day, but some of them are more simplistic and a reflection of quilters' styles and a skill level at the time of making the blocks. Since then, we have received lots of tops. We have over 300 quilt tops in the studio currently, and we are working to get those long-armed finished and sent out. We ask that if people donate quilt tops, that they be 48 by 64 or larger, but we ask not for king size. They're really big, they're really hard to quilt, extra hard to bind, and hard to ship. About 95% of our quilts are shipped by Canada Post. It is the most economic way to ship them, and many of our survivors still live in their community, so our rural and sometimes the only national delivery service is Canada Post. So the best part of what we do is seeing survivors with their quilts, seeing them wrapped in love, sewn together. In some cases, it's 12 blocks from 12 different people, quilted by a different person, bound by a different person. So you're looking, you could have anywhere from 16 to 20 people working on one quilt, and other quilts are made by one person or a couple of people. And the best, I don't know how to describe the feeling that you get when you see a quilt that you helped make wrapped around someone who doesn't even feel that they're worthy of this quilt. One survivor had said to be honored for something they've been ashamed of their whole lives is very overwhelming. And many of our survivors don't share pictures of themselves with their quilts. If you see the picture in the middle, that was a local presentation that we did a couple years ago. And many of the survivors didn't want their picture taken, but we asked them if we could just take a picture of their back with a quilt. And they said that was okay, but a lot of them, it's just really hard for them. They're still healing. They're still trying to understand why them, why this happened to them. And that's very common for people who have suffered trauma. Here's some more survivors with their quilts. Back in December of 2022, myself and another staff member were able to travel to Bella Coola, BC, and present quilts to 64 living survivors of residential school there. Thanks to Audrey, the lady here with the hat. She received a quilt and then asked, how does my entire nation get quilts? And so we were able to be a part of their first ceremony to honor survivors. And after the ceremony was over and the feast was over, we had lots of people compliment us, not on the quilts themselves, but on allowing them to honor their survivors. And that finally one lady had said, finally, we're honoring them. She says, I've been waiting for this for a long time to honor survivors. And it meant a lot to them that we were there and that we took the time to honor survivors. This last picture here is at one of our Northern College powwows, and we were able to present 30 quilts that day to survivors that were attending the powwow. Here's some more pictures of people with their quilts. As you can see, each quilt is different depending on the quilter's skill level. They're all unique. Many times the survivors have said, how did you know that my favorite color was red, or that I love bears? Or even just today, I read a post of a gentleman who received a quilt in honor of his father who has passed away, who was a survivor, and he himself is a second generation survivor. He said that the quilt had aquas and turquoise and rust colors, and it just reminded him of his dad. He said those are the colors that his dad always wore, and it's helping him to heal from the passing of his father, but also all of the stories that his dad has shared with him about his time at school. So a lot of times survivors just feel like that quilt was made just for them. And I really believe that the creator gives them a quilt that means something to them. One lady said that the quilt that she received looked like something her grandmother would have made. And that meant a lot to her as well. All of the work that we do, there's no way that myself and the one staff member or even a couple of volunteers could do all of this work. 3,600 quilts, you're looking at around 36,000 hours of quilting, give or take. There's volunteers all across Canada. There's different little hubs or guilds that are working to make quilts for survivors. And we're just so blessed to have so many people. We've had people reach out from Norway and Australia, New Zealand, the US, Mexico, Germany, who have just sent us blocks or tops or have found ways to help us out. Here in the studio, we have about 20 to 25 local volunteers that come in on a regular basis and help us out with whatever we need, whether it's folding fabric, whether it's long arming, which is the long sewing machine that you see with the two ladies on the far left. They're working to quilt, so finishing it up. And then we've had people who've come in from Southern Ontario who have said, hey, we can hand quilt tops if that's okay. We can tie them or we can hand quilt them. And the third picture there is me working on one of these quilts that we tied at an event that I was at. And so we've had lots of volunteers and definitely appreciate all of the support. One thing that I do is do lots of presentations, talking to groups or to guilds about what we're doing and why we're doing it. And of course, quilters love to talk about quilts. So we always make sure we have a quilt on display. This was back in June of 2022 when I attended my first ever Quilts Canada with the Canadian Quilters Association. And I also took time to talk to the Ridge Meadow Quilters Guild. And then the quilt there with all of the triangles, that quilt made its way to Kamloops in honor of their 215 unmarked graves. So there's 215 triangles, or as quilters call them, flying geese. And that was presented to the chief by myself. I personally went up there and presented it to the chief at the time of Kamloops, and they said they were going to put it in their museum. So we attended Quilts Canada of 2022 in Vancouver. We met some survivors, and we met just a lot of people who wanted to help us out. We accepted donations at our booth, and we were able to give any quilt that was finished, we were able to present to a survivor that was in BC. And it was just a great time to meet quilters and to share our project with them. And as mentioned earlier, I was able to drive up to Kamloops, BC, and see the school, talk to survivors, and meet with some of the leadership there. And we just had a great time. And they honored me with some drumming and singing, and I was able to present their survivors with quilts. Some of them, not all of them were present. This was our first anniversary. We've actually had two now, and we just keep going. We can't seem to stop. One reason we formed a nonprofit was because we had so many requests for quilts from survivors. We had so many volunteers that were saying, I can't get my stuff to you by your due date. And our first due date was August 1st of 2021. Our second due date was Thanksgiving of 2021. And it just grew so quickly and so fast. The only way to manage it was to form a nonprofit. In May of this year, the organization won a NOVA Award, which is a local chamber award that we were given. There was 3 finalists, and we were chosen as the finalists in the nonprofit category. And on the same day, we gave out our 3,000th quilt. So from May 11th to present, we have given over 600 quilts, which is just phenomenal. We average about 4 quilts a day, and that is just unbelievable. So here I am with our 3,000th quilt, and that's the mayor of Timmins. Another thing that we do to help us receive grants and to raise some funds, because we are a nonprofit, we don't sell any of our quilts, is we provide sewing classes. So we teach them over Zoom. Anyone can join. The only thing you need to have is sewing machine and some fabric. And you can keep the people who join can keep the blocks, keep the top, or they can donate it back to Quilts for Survivors. It's completely up to them. And we really have enjoyed it. We had over 50 people join us last year for our classes, and they're all over Zoom. They're live so that you can ask questions. Sometimes I've made mistakes, so you can so you can see that, you know, quilters are not always, we do make mistakes. We do have to sometimes rip things out and put it back together. The quilt that you see here is the one that we're going to be making starting on Sunday. It's the 3rd Sunday of every month that we have our classes. They're only $5 or $50 for all 10 classes. We don't do classes over the summer. Many quilters and guilds just take the summer off and do other things. But it's a lot of fun, and I just enjoy spending some time with volunteers from all over Canada and the US. I don't think we've had any international, anyone sign in from a different country other than the US. So how can you help make a difference? The easiest and cheapest thing you can do to help us is by telling other people about what we're doing and sharing our group or page on Facebook, or sharing us on Instagram and other social media sites. Just go there and share a post and let people know what we're doing, because you never know who in your circle is a survivor or knows a survivor or would like to help out. Another thing you can do is you can donate, whether it's money, fabric, thread, whatever. There's lots of things that we need. We do have a wish list on our website that you can go to and check it out and purchase something. Someone recently went on there and purchased some irons for us because our irons had burned out, and that was a really great blessing. And lots of people have sent fabric, which is another wonderful blessing. You can see the big pile of Canada Post prepaid boxes. Those boxes send 1 quilt, and it costs almost $30 to send a quilt. And we have over 1,600 survivors on our waiting list, waiting for their quilt. You can also volunteer, whether you're coming to Timmins, or you can just volunteer from where you are with a group of friends, make some blocks or make a top, or just get together with and get some supplies to us. Or one other thing that we've encouraged people to do is find a quilter in your area that's making quilts and maybe buy them their prepaid box so they can send their quilt directly to a survivor, because quilting is fairly expensive, and we want to make sure that our volunteers have some support. Another thing that you can do is we're having our first annual sewing retreat coming up in just a couple of weeks, and you can join us. There's still a few spaces left. So we're really, really excited to have our first annual sewing retreat. It's called, the theme is Orange You Glad We're Sewing, and it's just a great time to come together with all of our thousands of volunteers, and a lot of them are traveling to Timmins. We had spaces for 65 people, and we're almost maxed out, but we're also having the event live streamed so that anyone from anywhere can join in. There was an older lady from BC who said she's not allowed to travel anymore. She's just not, she's too old and not the best health. So we made sure that she could participate by having it live streamed by a local social media group. And so we're excited about that. We do have people from Norway and Mexico that have signed up to be a part of the virtual event, which is just concurrent with our live sewing retreat, and we're really excited. It's also a way to share our culture and our traditions with people who may not have ever experienced that. We're having hand drummers, we're bringing the large grandfather drum that's used at powwows, and we're just going to share some of our culture with them. We've also invited local survivors to come and share their stories, share their journey, and it'll just be a good time of fun, sewing, and great food, because we are planning to have a traditional feast as well. And if you want to sign up to even just view the virtual event, you can do so on our website. And of course, nothing is possible without the generous support of our sponsors. We have received a few grants over our time, but most of what we do is done through sponsorships of organizations, whether in kind or monetary donations. And that's, really helped us out. And we're really, really grateful for all of their support. It really helps us do what we need to do and to get the quilts into the hands of survivors. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, and we also are on Buy Me a Coffee, which is for $5. You can buy us a cup of coffee, and that money helps us with shipping. So all the money from Buy Me a Coffee is used for the shipping costs. And you can sign up to be a regular sponsor to give $5 every month, or you can, and on there, I also provide different things, different stories, maybe traditional stories, traditional teachings, or I share some of the quilting blocks that I'm working on in my own quilting journey. And you can see those there for if you become a member. And it's only $5 a month to become a member. And then you get some extra little tidbits of information from me. So thank you very much. And if you have any questions, you can always email us at admin@quiltsforsurvivors.ca, or you can check out our website at www.quiltsforsurvivors.ca. And I can
Thank you, Vanessa. That was wonderful.
Thank you.
For questions, anybody here have any questions for Vanessa?
I
Teresa.
liked you on Facebook. I got you on Facebook now.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. So we do have a group, which is more active than the page. So if you want to see our lives and things, you should join the group. Make sure you join the group. And that whenever we receive a donation, I have like boxes and stuff here in my office, and I open them live on Facebook. So nothing gets opened. You can sit here for 3-4 days, but nothing gets open until it's open live on Facebook.
Yeah, your presentation gave me goosebumps. Thank you.
Thank you.
Janet has a question.
What is your address so that if we need to send or want to send any quilt tops or quilt pieces?
130 Tamarack Street, Timmins, Ontario. And then it's P4N 6P8.
Perfect.
Is that
Thank you
also
so
on the
much.
website?
It's on our website,
Okay.
but if you Google us, it gives you our physical address. We don't accept donations at the physical address because the postal people can never find us. So we prefer to send to, so it goes to my house.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Anything else? Okay.
Sue,
Sue, yes.
Vanessa, I've corresponded with you a few times, and I've sent a quilt to a survivor in British Columbia, and I've sent you a bunch of fabric, and it's just an honor to meet you this morning. I've been very excited for that you were able to speak to my group. I have admired you. I think I read about you an article on the CBC just when you started. You weren't even terribly organized. You just knew what you wanted to do. And I've followed you all that time. I just want to say how remarkable you are. You're making us all aware of something that was hidden for so long. And I think the way you're doing it is beautiful.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I really believe that the Creator gives us gifts, and it's our duty to use those to better the people around us, whether it's, our families, our community, or even the world as a whole. And that's what I've done. And I think that's why it works, is because it's true to who we are as Indigenous people, and it's true to who I am as a person. And it's very overwhelming most of the time I'm just going, I can't believe it. I just can't believe that people, everything you see in this, in my office is all donated. It's all donated furniture, donated curtains, like everything. And it's just, it's phenomenal, just phenomenal. And I appreciate that you sent a quilt and that you've helped us out. That means so much to me personally and to our organization. Thank you.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Vanessa. Sorry, you don't only see really top of my head here, my hand. But, on behalf of Rotary, we'll be donating to the Polio Plus plan on your behalf, and we'll be sending you information on that shortly. But thank you so much for your talk today. This is wonderful and inspiring. I've already shared it on my social media, and I think the more and more people that can spread the news and keep the conversation about the atrocities of the residential schools and the reconciliation that's necessary should continue. And you are one of the warriors who's making that happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Miigwech. And I just want to say, in honor of my great grandparents who survived, I'm only here today talking to you because they survived. They lived through it and they came out not whole, but it speaks to our resilience and the fact that Indigenous people are not seeking retaliation speaks a lot to my people and to our hope of working together as Canadians. So again, thank you very much for your time. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Don't forget to wear an orange shirt on September 30th and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Chimigwech.
Vanessa, we're just gonna, oh, you're leaving. Okay. I was just gonna say, we're about to jump into a good news round, but if you wanted to kick us off, just, do you have any other good news other than the talk that you just did that you wanted to share with us?
Do I have any, sorry?
Any good news? Any positive?
Good news? Oh yes, I am, it's not official yet, but I did win the organization and myself won an award from the Canadian Chambers for the work that we're doing. And it was in a category where they didn't think any small nonprofits would actually be nominated. So we're really honored to accept that later in October.
Congratulations, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. If you want to stay on the rest of the meeting, it's up to you, or if you need to step out, that's totally understandable. Have yourself a wonderful day.
I'm gonna go. My little guy was up at 4 o'clock. He's not feeling so great.
Oh, okay.
I've been up a long time already.
Good to see you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Janet, do you have any good news for us today?
Sorry, Vice President Tim, just before, I want to give a big shout out to Sue for bringing this wonderful speaker to our attention.
Here, here.
So thank you, Sue.
Thank you. Janet, do you have any good news for us?
Yeah, my good news is I can talk still. I had dental surgery yesterday. So one side of my mouth is kind of a little on the swollen side, but I wouldn't have missed this for the world. So thanks for being able to bring them on. I might have some quilt tops that can be going out from my mother-in-law who passed away. And I'm sure being somebody from North Bay, she would have really understood what's going on in the world with the Indigenous people. So thank you.
Thank you. Excellent. Sue, do you have any good news for us today?
I do. My good news is that I got to meet Vanessa. I've followed her, like I said, for a long time, and I think she's just a remarkable woman. And I was so glad that Ann Smith followed up on inviting her to speak. I think it's something that we all have to be aware of, and I'm glad to be part of the meeting today.
Wonderful, thank you. And that does bring just a reminder to everybody, as Anne does a great job of bringing in wonderful speakers, it's also up to each of us to contribute names of people that inspire us, that you feel would be a good thing to contact Anne and help her out by bringing fly attacking me here, to make sure that we have excellent speakers continue at this time in the morning. So, but thank you for your words. Wendy, do you have anything for us today? Good news. You there, Wendy?
Some news.
Okay, I'll come back to you. Andrea, do you have anything for us? Good news.
Hi, good morning, everyone. As you know, kids are back to school, so that is my good news. I can get some work done, and unfortunately, I can't be there in person. Happy to be here online and connect and enjoy the presentation today.
Wonderful. Thank you. Now, Wendy, I see you unmuted now. Do you have any?
I did unmute. Yes, I would just like to say that seeing that presentation really started my day off in a fabulous way. And thank you, Anne, for inviting me to sit in on this as chair of our TRC committee. Any opportunity I have to further my knowledge is welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Does anybody have the cup? Okay.
What's a PRC committee? Does anyone know?
TRC, it's the
Oh.
Truth and Reconciliation.
Reconciliation. Another acronym. Make a note of that, Janet. All right. Allison, do you have any good news for us today?
Nope, just happy to be here. Yeah, nice weather, nice September. I was just trying to send them something on their wish list, sorry. Ignoring anybody.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, it was a great presentation.
Thank you. John.
Great presentation, thanks for that, and thanks, Fran, for doing all that you did. Sue, other than that, no real good news, happy to be here.
Susie.
Morning. That was a great presentation. I really enjoyed it. I'm really excited about Saturday and this thing's wrapping up pretty quickly. And we hope to have a lot of fun this weekend. It's gonna be great.
I don't really have any good news this morning. I guess the good news is that we are really busy right now supporting a lot of events in our community, which is a sign that our communities are healthy and they're active. We will be doing our own food drives on September 28th at Delcona Sobeys and the Sayers and Bradford to support both the Bradford and the Innisfil food banks, but it's a really busy time for us this time of year with community events and then leading up into Christmas. So I guess it's the good news is that we have healthy communities that are very active.
Just wanted to share about the day of service on Monday at Sandy Cove. There was a few of us that were able to go there and help to clean up some properties, wash some windows, and one house was literally within a jungle and they found the house. It is all cleared out, still got a few aches and pains. I don't know about you, and you're much fitter than me, but it was, I think it helped to make a difference to the residents of the homes that we helped. We did have an escaped cat, Anne and I managed to get it back. But it was good. It was a good feel project.
My good news may not sound like it's good news, but for those of you who have not heard, Barb Richards, who's Krista Richards' mother, who was our auctioneer on Saturday, her mother passed away, and so that the family is in Janet. But I called Krista because we've known each other for so long to give her condolences for a born, and she thought I was calling to make sure she was still coming for the event on Saturday. She said, we're there, we got it, it's on our, we're gonna do it, and we'll be there. And they're sort of excited about coming, but I just wanted to make sure all Rotarians had heard about Barb's passing, simply because Krista and her partner Chris will be here on with us on Saturday, just to be aware of that.
Krista will be amazing on Saturday. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you're going to be there, you will really enjoy the evening. My good news is 49 years ago, Larry graduated from University of Guelph, agricultural economics degree. And every year since then, his graduating class gets together. We trade around places and we have a reunion. So we spent Sunday down in Wallaceburg with the rest of his group. So it was nice, but that's pretty amazing that they've done that for 49 years.
How many people still come to that?
Sorry.
How many people?
So there were 16 in the original graduating class. I think 2 have passed away, and we had 12 plus partners.
Oh, good.
It's not bad.
Excellent.
My good news is that I guess fall's here and still stupid busy with everything else, so. The good news is, everyone's happy and healthy.
Oh, my goodness, I was happy to help for the day of service and baseball barbecue. Olivia joined me in representing Rotary, and that was a big help, and she was thrilled about it.
I'm just glad to be here. Yes, me too. Base is back in Barrie again, so that's nice. And I have my own acronym, IFTN. That's what I send to my daughter every night, so she knows I'm not laying out in the island somewhere or drowned. It's in for the night.
Good to be here, and I should adopt that. My daughter was about a foot away from jumping in her car to come and see if her mother was still upright because I wasn't responding. Yeah.
Yeah, it's always good to connect. I have, well, it's not always good news, but I'm stupid busy trying to get some 3 or 4 different businesses all happening at the same time. Wasn't my intention, it just happens. But bringing together, hopefully you have some money actually flowing in, because I haven't been having a lot of money for a bit. But yeah, things are slowly coming together.
Good.
So, does anybody else have anything for the good of Rotary today?
Can I just remind, if you're considering going to the district conference, that I think that the hotel is rectified, they've got more rooms. But it's always a really great conference, and those of you who've gone to the learning ones, where there's a lot of learning, these are on a bigger level because it's the entire district, and the speakers will be excellent. So if you're even able to get there, still there's room.
When is it again?
It's October something, it's on the calendar, I'll go back to it. And if any of the ladies wanted, well, anybody want to share a room, I don't think my husband's going this time, so if you want to split a room, that's great.
And I was gonna ask to maybe put on the speakers calendar. I've been talking with Toastmasters about the joint. We've never really gotten there as a club about because they have a lot of educational training that we are open to receiving as a club. So I'd actually like to do a presentation of what is actually available to the members from the Toastmasters perspective. And so pen me in for some time, whenever that is.
Yeah, it'll be sometime towards the end of October.
That's fine. That's I'm in no rush. But otherwise, we are almost at time today. Everybody's seen on the agenda. Just as a reminder of the upcoming events, obviously we have the harvest dinner, the gingerbread contest, the soup contest,
Yes,
which is very important, and fellowship, of course. So looking forward to that, but
No canvas soup.
You have really good ears.
I do.
Yeah.
And 2 boys. Everything. Yeah, so don't forget to sign up for that too. I sent an email out last week. If you haven't responded.
I'll be happy
Have a
to
good day
tell you
there.
we're coming with soup.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't probably say.
Yes, I think I had that.
otherwise, looking forward to other opportunities in the future for fellowship as well. Because the more that we do as a club together, the more that we bond and the more that we are successful. So thank you, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your week. See you on the weekend, I hope.
Yes.
And all the best. Thank you online.